Let's look at the server variables. Here we have that selected here in our projects. Just a form, we can select anything really and just send that to see what these server variables do here. And you can see that in the file itself, the server-side file, all we do is a for each on the server global variable, and we have a key value pair. You can see this in the built-in arrays section, in the arrays section. Key value pairs echoed out, and that's all it is. These come in handy to let you know what you can accept via HTTP, for example, different types, bitmaps, JPEGs. But really, you can see the language of the browser. These are going to be sent from the browser to the server, so you can process that and see what it's doing. The cookie has a session ID, which we'll see in the session information. This is passed in the headers to the server side, so we can keep track of which user is clicking which page to maybe pass variables or keep them logged in or keep them logged out, for example. The host is the IP address that we're using here. The refer is not always set, but it can be, and it's useful to find out where this page was called from. And this can help you to keep it local, meaning you can check for this and make sure it's coming from the exact page and directory that you want it to. That way, someone's not using your forms to process their own information from another server, for example. And that way you can ensure that the code is correct. The user agent to find out what type of browser the user has. It can be very long indeed. It's long here. It extends to the next line. Then we have the path, system path, different path information. The remote address, which happens to be the same here. This is the user browser local IP address. And it's the same because I'm doing it on my local host. There are other things as well. Admin email addresses, server addresses, ports, and other things you might find useful, including the query string, which you might find useful. We'll see this coming up in a video shortly. We can check the request method, whether it's a get or post, to make sure that this is what we want, a get or a post. From the other file that actually sent the data here, we can check that. Other ways to do that. Request URI, we'll talk about that in a little bit. This will show the file name that we're currently at right now, but it'll add query string information if this is what's passed via a get. Otherwise, with a post, it won't do that. And you can see it extends down here. A better approach is to use script name, because you don't have all that name value pair stuff appended to the end if you're using a get. And you have the path translated, which can help you out to find exactly where the path is. You see we have an Apache 2Webs folder here on the C system drive, and that's where we store it in this folder. And then we have our local web folder continuing. So it's helpful too. And then the PHP self, which we're familiar with. This is just the page itself. This can be helpful as well to find out who we are as a server file, as a script here. And then you can reference things like the directory before that, and things like that. And this is also letting us know that we have arguments passed as an array onto this. And this is for other processing needs that you might use, just like you can do in C, for example, with the command line. But things are very, very powerful here, and you can use them as you need to. These come in handy quite a lot, and I do use them a lot. You just want to get familiar with what the values are, what the actual keys are, and then you can just use them as you need to. You'll see me use them throughout the training.